I asked on Instagram, how important is the initial sketch? And more than 70% said, very important. Plus, I had a lot of requests from you asking me how I'm making my initial sketch. Show us. So here you go. And also I want to show you what's the difference between a black and white drawing sketch and a colored pencil drawing sketch, because they are different. You need to pay attention to different details. If you haven't noticed before, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So for today's sketching example, I chose Rey from Star Wars, Daisy Ridley. Then get your paper, your ruler and pencil ready, because we are gonna make the best sketch. In order to have the best sketch, we should have the best photo reference. If it is too dark or too bright, it will be impossible to see the midtones, which will affect the realism of your drawing. This example is perfect. As you can see, the interplay of midtones is clearly visible. This will allow you to create more depth in your drawing. If your photo reference is too far and when you zoom in, it is losing its resolution, then again, this is not the best photo reference for you to get the perfect result. Resolution of the photo is so important for the realism. Here on the right, you can't see her lip or eyelash details at all, which will force you to use your imagination instead. If you have a high-resolution photo, for example, like this, then you can even see his iris and eyeball details, which will allow you to do a better job. I had explained 5 different methods of creating a sketch before. If you haven't watched it yet, I am putting it in the upper right corner for you so you can watch it. These methods include transferring an image from both physical photos or digital ones. I do all my drawings from digital photos, and let me show you how to create the most accurate sketch for your graphite or charcoal drawing first. I open my PowerPoint and I go to Design, Slide Size, and arrange the orientation to a portrait and size to my paper size. Before I add my photo here, I want to edit my reference photo first. The one I have is in color and I want to turn it into black and white. So I click on the photo I want to use. Click Edit. Then from filters, I choose a black and white one that shows the shadows and highlights the best. This is the best so far because the midtones are clearly visible and the resolution is pretty high. Now, if you increase the exposure in your photo, you will see the darkest points much easier, just like here. This will allow you to mark those spots in your initial sketch. Then, when you decrease the exposure rate, this time you will see the brightest parts. Here with my mouse, I'm trying to show you those areas. Now, let's revert our photo back to normal and use this in our PowerPoint. I changed the slide size from 14:9 to 14:8 because I thought this way it will fit better. Then I go to View and turn on the ruler and guidelines. If you want, you can also turn on the guides tool as well, but I really don't need it. Then we go to Insert, Shapes, and insert a line. I place that line on one of the first grids on the left, color it red, and increase the thickness a little bit so I can see better. I make sure the grids are 1 inch apart, by the way. In order to check that, you just need to go to the grid settings in View and see the measurements there. I add all the squares, then by adding a text box on the top and on the left side, I add letters and also numbers. Because I set the slide size in the beginning 14 by 8, you should have 14 lines horizontally and 8 lines vertically. In grid method, you look at where in the square the border is overlapping with what in the photo exactly. For example, the eyebrow. How many squares did the left eyebrow cut through? 4 of them. But where exactly? Right corner, right bottom corner, left upper corner. You have to pay attention to these. By using proportions like these, you will easily finish each square. Your sketch won't look like the photo at all, because what makes a drawing realistic are the highlights, shadows, and midtones, which you don't have yet. One of the most important things in black and white drawing sketch is the eyes, because eyes have so many details and you have to put them all in your sketch if you want to draw realistic. For example, look at this eye. How many lines do you see here? I'll wait, you count. I count 9 lines. So if you don't add these lines in your sketch in the beginning, then while you're drawing, you're gonna confuse them all. And that's going to create one eye looking different than other eye. In the eye, the tear duct area is also very important. And in order to make it look realistic, you have to add these details in your sketch as well. Which details you don't need, if you ask? You don't have to include eyelash, eyebrow, or lip details yet. You don't include hair details either unless you have a photo like mine that some hair details cover the ear, so I had to add in mine. In black and white sketch drawing, the second most important thing is figuring out and outlining where the brightest and darkest parts are. You mark those spots so that you don't miss the highlight and color it dark, or when you want to go in and add the darkest shadows, you will exactly know where to go. Once you think that you got everything in, with the help of your kneaded eraser, go in and erase all the lines. Make sure to re-add all the lines in your sketch that you erased by mistake. For sketching, I usually use either HB or B pencil. And we never apply pressure when we are sketching, especially while drawing the grids. If you apply too much pressure in your sketch, then it will be hard to erase. And also, it will show underneath of your portrait, which will create an ugly look. Let me show you how to see those highlight and shadow details when you look at the photo. Here in blue, you will see the highlights. They are the brightest in this photo, and I already outlined these areas in my sketch. And the red ones outline the darkest areas. I lightly outline those areas as well, as you can see on the right. The areas that are not outlined are called midtones. We will create those values with our graphite pencils, charcoal dust, and by using different blending techniques. After grid method, I want to show you tracing method. When I put my paper on my screen, I couldn't see the details very well, so I go to my screen settings and try to find the brightest setting possible. So this setting for my screen is cinema setting that works perfectly for my tracing. Then I turn off the lights in my room and close the curtains so that I can see the image even better. See, this is much better. I can see every fine detail. In order to not to feel tired and have a sore arm later, tape your paper onto your screen. So I show you how I do mine. Only 2 pieces of tapes that I apply on the back of my paper, and I place them at the top, one on each side, and after I stick them, I trace every detail. For colored pencil portraits, we don't have tonal differences like highlights and shadows, but instead we have color changes. We need to add all these spots that have the most common colors and where they change. This is what I'm talking about. The dark brown, burnt sienna color stripes, and then the lighter shades, grayish areas, grayish white areas. And then on the nose, I see 3 different colors. Purplish pink, the other is reddish pink, and the other one is orangish pink. Also, those eye reflections need to be in your sketch as well. Both grid and tracing methods can be used in any type of drawing or painting, but what you include in your sketch changes according to what medium you are going to use. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe and visit my website ecegürler.com. Stay with art and